Hey guys, welcome back to Ethony's 31 Days of Tarot. Today is day 24. What tarot card do I feel is the most misunderstood and why? I had to think about this for a while purely because I'm sure that I have answered a similar question last year, or I've had several of these discussions. I've picked a card that I have written about recently on Instagram and one that I'm quite passionate about because I do feel that this can often be misunderstood both by the keyword and by some of the older depictions of it. As you can see, this is the Judgement card, and what I've done is I've picked 3 of my favourite depictions of this card, and what you'll notice is the keyword isn't changed. Now, I don't mind changes. I don't think to fully understand a card the name needs to be changed though. Sometimes names are changed to soften them, and it's not about that for me. I'll show you these 3 cards quickly. So we've got the Wild Unknown here, and you can see you've got this gorgeous, what appears to be a dove, or at least I'm calling it a dove, and it is rising up, and you can see the shadow of many birds below. Then we've got this wonderful light bulb, which I just love the reasoning behind the creation of this. This is from the White Sage Tarot. And then finally, I've got the Judgement card from the Naked Heart Tarot. This is the 2nd edition, although I don't think this card changed. And you can see here, we've got the butterfly, and then on the reversal, we've got many butterflies, and they've got no colour. What I love about these 3 is that they give you signs, signals, ideas visually behind some of what is meant by judgment. And so basically what I said in my Instagram post, I think it was several weeks ago now, is that often judgment is thought of, at least where I am, more in this day-to-day society, as a negative thing. When we negatively put our judgments or our projections or our thoughts onto a situation, object, person, etc., it does tend to have a negative connotation to it, as well as the fact that often when people make judgments such as self-comparison, we will fall into doing it in a negative capacity. So we won't say, we've both got really great hair. It might be, and I'm using something superficial because it's easy, but her hair's better than mine, or his clothes are better than mine, or their life looks better than mine, whatever it is. So there is that attachment to the word judgment and the way in which it's used. The other layer is decks such as the Rider-Waite-Smith have what I feel is a very Christian depiction of, the angel is above them. They are sort of rising from gravestones, I guess, or are they just rising? I can't quite picture the image fully in my head. And at least what it reminds me of is that there will be a decision as to whether you are good or bad, and therefore in heaven or hell. I'm really simplifying this, I appreciate that. But so for me, I think that visual doesn't really lend itself to how I feel the Judgment card is, what it represents. But one of the other things that I think that does is it feels like that judgment is outside of ourselves, and so therefore someone or something else is judging us. And whilst that could be the case, it may well be one of the reasons why the card come up, who knows. But what I find is that there's a removing of responsibility. And as we're so close to completion and the world, and you can see here there's a light bulb moment. We are fixating on one bird in this, and in the butterfly not only is there that level of transformation, but there are eyes. And so for me, there's a level of insight and looking into ourselves as to where we are. Sometimes this card has been renamed Awakening, just to give you an example of where I'm trying to go with it, because as usual I've not scripted this, so articulating it might not be as good as I would like. One of the things for me, the Judgment card is asking ourselves about understanding, and the actual meaning of judgment is to objectively look at something. And so that coming in and actually assessing and bringing our conscious awareness to this moment in time to see if it is in fact, you know, going well, is it not going well, is there resistance? And so, as I say, that sort of angel and it being a judgment outside of ourselves feels like to me that it removes a part of our internal process and what the major arcana is really saying to us, especially with it being a major and it being one of the archetypes within the deck. What judgment does, what this light bulb moment feels like for me, awareness of what's in our light, what's in shadow, and instead of it being fragmented, bringing it together so that we're balanced, we're rejuvenated. It feels like there's a lot of layers, both emotionally and mentally, to this awakening, to this understanding, and that light bulb moment of awareness that then creates our final step, you know, our movement into the World card. And it's not that there's not shadow to this card. Of course there is, just not being willing to take responsibility, to explore, or to project judgments outside of ourselves without being consciously aware of it. There are so many other aspects. But this is definitely one of the cards for me that I found in, as I say, in some depictions or other things like that, that the visual maybe hinders it, or the key word, the societal meaning that it may have attached to it. I'd love to hear your thoughts. There's so much more that I could say about the Judgment card, but I'm not going to. I'm not going to. I like having the shorter videos, especially filming every few days. But definitely feel free to share your thoughts with me below, and I will catch you again tomorrow.